week's word is midnight. Midnight, or 12 a.m., is the transition period from one day to the next. In ancient Roman times, it was the time between sunset and sunrise. The very first New Year's Eve party was celebrated 4,000 years ago. It was invented by Julius Caesar on January 1st, named after the Roman god Janus, which had one head looking forward and one head looking back. 45% of Americans make a New Year's Eve resolution. The most common are loss. To lose weight, to stay organized, to save money, and to stop smoking. 25% of these New Year's resolutions go kaput within the first 2 weeks, and only about 8% of them actually make it all the way through. In Times Square in New York City, every year they do a ball drop. Now this is watched by about 1 million people live and another 1 billion worldwide on TV. The reason was in 1907, they needed a way to celebrate the New Year's and fireworks were banned. So what they did was they came up with the original ball, which weighed 700 pounds and was covered by 100 lights. Today, the new ball weighs about 12,000 pounds and is covered by over 32,000 lights. In 1788, Scottish poet Robert Burns wrote the song Auld Lang Syne. It meant times gone by, and it meant to keep your loved ones close at heart. Sometimes 12 a.m. doesn't always bring with it a celebration. Sometimes the midnight hour adds more of a sinister element. There is an old pagan ritual that states that you can summon an entity into your home known as the Midnight Man. The game is to survive the shadows until 3:33 in the morning. Playing the game is not recommended. I've heard some very interesting and disturbing stories about this Midnight Man. Although you might think this is one of the scariest things, since 1947, there has been a doomsday clock that has been counting down the minutes till midnight or till the world's annihilation. This takes into account things like climate change and, more importantly, nuclear disaster and war. Due to the recent disaster in Fukushima, Japan, they are now projecting that there's going to be 5 to 10 times higher levels of cesium in the Pacific Ocean than there was decades ago during the heavy atomic bomb testings. Since the disaster, there have been fish in Western Canada that have been reported bleeding eyeballs, gills, and bellies as far south as California. Right now on planet Earth, there's over 23,000 nukes. Now with this amount of arsenal, 2,500 of them are ready at any moment's notice. It's enough devastation to destroy the world 5 to 50 times over. These nukes can be launched over 1,000 miles in just 4 minutes. Since the midnight doomsday clock's inception in 1947, the furthest it's ever been was 17 minutes away from doom, and that was in 1991. Since then, today, we are only about 5 minutes away because of the imposing threat. In 1983, Stanislav Petrov was in charge of monitoring the early warning satellites in Russia. This was not his intended job. He only did this twice a month to keep his skills from getting rusty. On September 26th of that year, shortly after midnight, he noticed a missile on a screen headed towards Russia from the United States. A flashing red button appeared, asking him to confirm the nuclear attack. If he had pushed the button, the information would have been sent up the chain of command to the commander-in-chief in charge of the nuclear suitcase, who would have undoubtedly ordered a counter-strike. 120 panicked military officers watched him make his decision, as he had less than 15 minutes to decide whether to disobey orders or pass along the vital paramount information. Coffee break. he decided to ignore the warnings. His reasoning: why would the Americans only send 5 nuclear devices when they could have sent hundreds? Thankfully, for this reasoning, he was able to save the entire planet. We have so much beauty in this world, from the flowering trees to the swimming fish to all the creatures who call this planet home. And we require a lot more information and understanding on how to use these technologies wisely. Will we face our future in more of a doomsday midnight, or with the hope and the happiness of our New Year's celebrations? But for humanity, this is one New Year's resolution we must make together.